Selling for movie Death Rules. Oops, sorry.
Where are you, James? Where are you,
Let me
mate?
right now.
Yeah,
I'm sitting in Philadelphia.
nice. I'm sitting in Malaysia in the middle of the jungle.
Oh, you must be on a totally different time zone than I am on at this point.
It's 9:30 at night.
You're doing like an apocalypse now thing out there, I assume.
Yeah, mate, that's literally what it is. It's just it's my twins are making Lord of the Flies, so it's literally like Apocalypse Now for 12-year-olds.
It sounds like a blast. If you're not watching Yellow Jackets, you should check it out because it's kind of along the same lines. It's a TV show.
Okay, I will.
But let's talk about the Stoic for a couple minutes at least. How did you get involved in this film? Like when you read the script for it, was it something you were super interested in, or how did that come about?
Do you want me to be dead honest?
Yes.
Okay, so there's two things, right? So the film business in the UK, very similar to America, is about community, right? So there are people you know and people you love, people you're trying to get in with, people that you're trying to apologize to, for whatever reason that you get involved with them. And Neil Jones is this amazing Welsh producer who I love, who was the line producer for my first feature film that I made called Eat Locals. And every now and again, he phones me up and goes, Jace, listen, mate, could you do with a couple of grand? And I go, I really could, bruv. Yeah, that'd be brilliant. Well, get on the train, come to Wales, and help out these lads. They're a cracking team. They're lovely boys. And I'm like, I'm on my way. And then actually, when I got down there, John and Scott Wright, who are these two filmmakers, were lovely lads, and they're trying to do something interesting, really interesting. And I jumped in. But the other reason I did it was because, you know, as your career evolves and stuff, you're not owed anything by anyone. So I've done 12 films for Guy Ritchie and Matt Vaughan, but they don't owe me anything. And you have to evolve. You have to start aligning yourself with other filmmakers and other people who are starting out. And then when you do their short, you then end up doing their TV show, and it constantly evolves. And if Guy phones me again, that would be amazing, and I'll just keep going to his birthdays and weddings. But creatively, you've got to align yourself with new people that are starting out and doing it, and that's what this was.
Yeah, no doubt. You play a character named Carlisle. You're not in the movie that much. You've got like one or two scenes, but they're really important scenes because you basically explain like what the Stoic is and stuff like that. So how long were you actually on set and like, playing the character of Carlisle
I
for?
think I think they said 3 nights, and I said I'll give you two, and then we did it in two. So it's like sometimes you do those things and they disappear, and that's the risk, and sometimes you do them and they turn out okay, and this one was that. And my wife says you can do three shorts and two independent movies a year for nothing. The rest of the time you got to go work and support the family, and Stoic was the last one of that year. So it was after that I wasn't allowed to go and do anything else that was passionate and like for me.
I've been interviewing a lot of people from the UK lately, and I've felt that their voice in movies never sounds the way I picture it in real life. So I was talking to Ian Glenn the other day, and I was like, I never knew you sounded like that. So when I saw you in this movie, I was like, that's not Jason's voice that I'm used to hearing. He's got to be doing something different here. So like, what was your process of choosing how your character is going to talk, their accent, and like
Well, the
their
reason it
mannerisms?
was slow, I think the reason it was slow is because I was trying to remember the lines. But 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 listen, I could do that stuff standing on my head, that kind of like threatening, like gangster kind of stuff. It's like I've been doing it for 30 years. So really, it was just to align myself with Scott and John Ecclesby, and I think we got on brilliantly. And I'm really listen, man. The process of making a film is complicated and difficult, and you've got to jump over a lot of hurdles. And the fact they've done it is amazing. The fact they've done it with a film that is good is even better. And I think they're destined, to do stuff on a bigger budget. That makes it a lot easier. They get now up to like $1 to $5 million films, which I'm sure will be their next project. I'm sure they're already doing it. And that will give them the power and the resources to do something really special, which I think the next film will be.
Yeah, no doubt. I know we were talking about past projects of yours with Guy and Matthew, but I wanted to talk to you because Deep Rising is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love like monster sci-fi, and you play Mulligan in that movie. Stephen Summers is directing. You've got a stacked
I
cast.
love Steve Summers, but that was way before Guy Ritchie times. Me and Steve did like three movies together, and I love him. And
How,
to go up against Wes Studi, stand down, Mulligan, stand down. I mean, I was like, oh my God, this is the best moment of my life. It's the, Wes Studi is one of the, great First Nation actors of all time. And to do something with him was brilliant.
How did you guys do the monster in that movie? Like, were you acting
That
against
was Rob.
anything?
So that was Rob Bottin, right? Rob Bottin is one of the greatest monster, makers of all time. So a lot of it was really there. Some of it was obviously visual effects, but Rob Bottin is one of the last great monster movie creators. I'm sure if that's your genre, you know him. Um, but I've been acting with against a lighting pole with a tennis ball on it for years. Clash of the Titans, X-Men. No matter how posh the film is, X-Men was like $160 million. And it's still a metal pole with a tennis ball that you're acting against. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any difference. There's no posh version of that. When it's visual effects, you're acting against the tennis ball.
It's funny. Anytime I think of Clash of the Titans, the first time I saw it, I didn't even know it was you until I went back and watched it a second time because you're under all that makeup and you're all deformed looking. Like
Yeah.
that was Jason Flemyng the whole time. I had to go back and watch it again. Like, yeah, that's
You know what
definitely him.
happened, mate? Do you know what actually happened? What happened was in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, right? The makeup was so horrific. It was 8 hours, right? It was 8 hours. We used to go to dinner with Tony Curran at midnight in Prague. And then they go to a club and I go to work and go to makeup. And then they come in at 8 and I'd be sat there going, morning, boys. You all right? And I'd have been there 8 hours. And I didn't moan and I didn't get pissy about it. And then that was great because that I love going to work. But unfortunately, what it did, it was then people would do another movie like Clash of the Titans and they go, man, the makeup on this is really brutal, guys. What are we going to do? And they're like, someone would go, I think I know someone. Jasper Flemage, I think he's called. He's so cool, but he doesn't moan. And so for like 7 or 8 years, I just did these horrible makeup. And I was so thrilled to be asked that I didn't question it. And, I bought a house, put my kids through school, but then eventually I just went, I've got prosthetic depression and I want to stop. And that was the end of it.
We were talking about X-Men real quick before. I don't know if you noticed, but there was an X-Men movie that came out this past summer,
Yeah.
Deadpool and Wolverine, and a character you played, Azazel, was in it, but I noticed it wasn't you. Did they ever
But they asked
contact you?
me.
Did
They
they
asked me.
did
Yeah,
ask
they
you. All
did.
right.
They said, listen, it's 3 days, it's like 2 days makeup, 3 days filming. Uh, by the way, I've got no egos, so it's cool, right? But they were like, you'll be paid as a stuntman. I was like, why don't you go and pay a stuntman then? And they were like, okay, we just wanted to make sure you were asked because it is your role. And I'm like, mate, you know, having seen it, the stunt guy did great. He was brilliant. In fact, I reached out to him on Instagram and went, you did brilliantly, well done. But uh, you got to just let those ones go. By the way, it did me no harm because everyone thinks I'm in it. Everyone goes, that was you, Jay. That was brilliant. And if it means when I go to Comic Con, I get a few more signatures, then so be it.
I'm just glad I heard that they asked you because I was like, if they didn't ask him, that wouldn't be cool at all. But I'm glad to hear
No,
that
they
they.
did. They did. They did. They did.
You've been in so many movies. I've been watching. I'm 37, so I've been watching you for so long. I know that probably ages you, and you don't want to hear that or anything like that. But what's a line that people remember you for? Like, what's the most memorable line people ask you to repeat? Is there any? Because I know what it would be for me. I'm just curious what you say the
Well,
most.
you know it then. It's from Lockstock, and it's people. And every day, someone, even in Malaysia, people go, "It's a deal. It's a steal. Still of century. In fact, fuck it, Nick. I think I keep it." I'm like, yeah, nice.
That's
Yeah.
the
So,
first one,
oh,
and for
oh,
me, it's Dr. Jekyll at your service when you transform out of your makeup back to normal.
Dr. Jackal, at your service. I'll tell you the funny story about that very quickly, right? So I just split up from Lena Headey, the girl from Game of Thrones, right? And I was mortified. I was devastated. I was like, that's the end of my life. And then I went off to make League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And I knew there was that transformation scene, right? So I was like, I'm going to show Lena Headey. I'm going to show her. And I spent like 5 months in the gym to the point where the guy who was training me has a plaque in his bathroom saying, Warner Brothers paid for this bathroom because I train with them every day. I literally changed from like a soft sort of floppy guy into Brad Pitt from Fight Club, right? And so that scene when I go, Dr. Jack, at your service, I am ripped because I wanted to show Lena what she was missing. And then about 2 years later, I bumped into her and I went, "Did you ever see League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?" She went, "No, I didn't see it. I missed it. I missed it." And I was like, "Damn it, damn it!" But that's
But
why I did it.
people can think whatever they want at the movie, but I have a great time with it. Look, I can picture that whole scene in my head, just you going, look out for my next trick, and you've got that voice and everything like that. It's just so fun to watch at this point now, but at the
But
time,
when you go on set and find Sean Connery, it's like going diving and seeing a dolphin, you know? It's like it doesn't get better.
but last question before we wrap up, we talked about Lock, Stock. Let's talk about Snatch for a second. You played Darren in Snatch. You're clearly close to
Yeah.
Brad Pitt's character in that. The first time you heard him talk like that, did you know he was going to sound like that? Did he tell anybody that he was going to talk like that, or what was that experience like for you?
It was wild, right? They hired an actor for $10 million on a film that, cost $20 million. And they made him speak gobbledygook. It was pretty cool. There's one scene next time you watch Snatch, because everyone gets drunk and watches Snatch, right? So
Always.
next time you watch it, there's a scene in the caravan, and like I've been here a long time. I know how to stay in the frame. I know how to steal coverage. That's the whole thing. I'm trying to teach my kids on this. I'm like, you have to steal coverage, son. You have to, when you walk through a door, you've always got to look back. You always have to steal coverage. And there's a moment in the caravan where me and Brad's here and I'm here, and I sort of lean into him, and he looks at me as if to go, Chase, what are you doing? And I sort of lean away from him, and I'm just trying to lean into his close up. But yeah, that was fun. And he's been great, man. We've been really, I mean, obviously I don't bump into him in Pizza Hut, but he's been a great friend.
I love the Pizza Hut reference, though, at least. I mean, at least you know what that is. But that's all I got for you today, Jason. It's been an absolute pleasure. I hope everybody gets to watch Stoic when it comes out, and I hope we get to talk again, man.
Thanks, bruv. On the next one.
Oh, of course. Thanks, Susan.